The worst part wasn't seeing Dante Moretti walk into my café. It was watching my daughter run toward him. "Mama, customer!" Bianca called out, already halfway across the kitchen before I could stop her. Before I could grab her, before I could do anything but watch my 4-year-old daughter barrel straight toward the man who'd signed my death warrant 5 years ago. The man whose eyes she'd inherited. Time fractured. I saw it happening in excruciating slow motion. Bianca's bright smile, Dante's step faltering as he looked down at her. The precise moment recognition hit him like a bullet. He went completely still. Behind me, ceramic crashed to the floor. I didn't remember dropping it. "You're tall," Bianca announced, tilting her head back to study him with that fearless curiosity that had gotten her into trouble since she could walk. "Are you here for Mama's tiramisu? Everybody comes for the tiramisu." Dante didn't answer. Couldn't answer. His gaze was locked on her face like he'd seen a ghost, and then it lifted, cutting past her to where Rocco, Cassian, and Sienna had appeared in the doorway, 3 more impossible pieces of evidence that the life I'd built was about to burn. 4 children. 4 copies of the man I'd loved and feared in equal measure. Elena. My name tore out of him rough and raw. Not a greeting, an accusation. I moved on instinct, putting myself between him and Bianca. "Upstairs. All of you. Now." "But, go." They went. Even Rocco, who'd been testing boundaries for weeks, heard something in my voice that made him obey. Their footsteps echoed up the back stairs like a countdown. 10 seconds until detonation. 5. 1. Dante's men flanked the exits. The cafe emptied around us. And the man I'd fled from 5 years ago, the man I'd watched sign my execution order, the man I'd loved more than breathing, closed the distance between us in 3 strides. "Explain." His hand caught my face, fingers rough with barely controlled fury. "Explain how I just met 4 children who have my eyes." If you're hooked in and want to enjoy this story, go ahead and subscribe and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see where everyone's watching. Plus, tomorrow I've got another incredible story lined up, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Alright, back to the story. But I hadn't always been running. Once, I'd loved Dante Moretti with the kind of reckless passion that burns everything down. Once, I'd believed he'd protect me, that we'd build something real together. Until the night I saw the execution order with his signature. Until I understood that love in the Mafia came with a price, and I was about to pay it in blood. So I'd run. Pregnant. Terrified. Alone. And for 5 years, I'd built a life in the ashes of the one he'd destroyed. But now, he was standing in my kitchen, staring at the children he'd never known existed, and I realized with crushing certainty, my carefully constructed lies were about to collapse, and this time, there was nowhere left to run. The cafe closed at 8. Dante returned at 8:03. I'd sent the children upstairs an hour ago, fed them dinner, supervised baths, tucked them into beds they didn't want to stay in. They'd asked questions I couldn't answer. Who was that man? Why did he look angry? Are we in trouble, Mama? Yes, I'd wanted to say. We're in so much trouble. Instead, I'd kissed their foreheads and promised everything would be fine, tasting the lie on my tongue. Now I stood in the darkened cafe, chairs stacked on tables, floors mopped, every surface gleaming like I could scrub away what was coming. Through the window, I watched Dante's black Mercedes pull up to the curb. He stepped out alone. For now. The door wasn't locked. I'd known better than to try. He walked in like he owned the place, shoulders back, movements controlled, every inch the predator I remembered. The streetlight behind him cast his shadow long across my clean floors. "You came," he said. "Did I have a choice?" No. At least he was honest. He moved to the counter, running his fingers along the edge where I'd dropped the plate earlier. I'd swept up every shard, but I could still see them scattered across the steel, evidence of the moment my world had cracked open. "Where do you want me to start?" I asked, arms crossed, maintaining distance. "The beginning." His eyes found mine in the darkness. "The night you disappeared." My laugh came out bitter. "You mean the night I ran for my life?" "I mean the night you vanished without a word, without a trace." His voice hardened. "The night you took something from me I didn't even know existed." "I was pregnant, Dante. 4 months pregnant when I saw—" The words caught in my throat. "Saw what?" I forced myself to say it. "Your signature, on my execution order." The silence that followed was absolute. Then, "What?" "Don't pretend." "What execution order?" He crossed the space between us in 2 strides, and I stumbled back, hip hitting the counter. "Elena, what the hell are you talking about?" The genuine confusion in his eyes made something twist in my chest. "The file. Someone left it outside my apartment. Your signature was on the authorization, bank transfers, dates, everything." "I never—" He stopped, jaw clenching. "Someone forged it. It looked real. Because someone wanted you to think it was real." His hands gripped the counter on either side of me, caging me in. "Tell me everything, every detail." I didn't want to go back to that night, didn't want to remember the blood-stained folder, the photographs of previous hits, the clinical documentation of how I was supposed to die. But his eyes were burning into mine, and I realized with dawning horror he really didn't know. "It was late," I started, voice barely above a whisper. "Almost midnight. Someone knocked on my door. When I opened it, there was just a folder, black, with the Moretti seal." Dante's breathing had gone shallow. "Inside were bank transfer receipts, $50,000, authorization signature, yours, and photographs." I swallowed hard. "Of me. At the cafe where I worked, at the grocery store, outside the clinic where I'd confirmed the pregnancy." My voice broke. "They'd been following me for weeks." "Elena." There was a note. 3 words. "You know too much." His fist slammed into the counter, making me jump. "I never authorized that. I never signed anything. I wouldn't—" He stopped, something dark and terrible crossing his face. "Who delivered it?" "I don't know. They were gone by the time I opened the door." "Did you keep it? The folder?" I shook my head. "I burned it, packed 1 bag, left everything else behind." I met his eyes. "I was 4 months pregnant with quadruplets, Dante. I couldn't exactly fight back." "You could have come to me." "You were the threat." The words exploded out of me. "Your name was on the order. Your money paid for it. What was I supposed to do? Walk into your office and ask if you really wanted me dead?" "Yes." His voice cracked. "Yes, Elena. You should have trusted me." "I did trust you, and that's what made it worse." We stood there, breathing hard, the weight of 5 years pressing down between us. Outside, a car door opened and closed. His men, I realized, giving us space but staying close enough to intervene. "I swear on my life," Dante said quietly, dangerously, "I never ordered your execution. I never wanted you dead." His hand lifted, tattooed fingers brushing my cheek. "When you disappeared, I tore this city apart looking for you. Until you stopped. Until someone convinced me you'd betrayed me, that you'd taken Moretti money and run." His eyes hardened. "The same someone who probably forged that execution order." My stomach dropped. "Who?" Before he could answer, footsteps sounded on the stairs. We both turned. 4 children stood in the stairwell, Rocco in front, protective as always, Cassian behind him, analytical eyes missing nothing, Sienna clutching her stuffed rabbit, Bianca yawning but determined not to miss anything important. Dante went absolutely still. I watched him look at them, really look at them, in the dim cafe light. Rocco's stubborn jaw, Cassian's calculating gaze, Sienna's defiant chin, Bianca's fearless curiosity, all of him, all of me, all ours. Mama said you're our father, Rocco said, voice steady despite the tremor I could hear underneath. Is that true? Dante's throat worked. When he spoke, his voice was raw. Yes. Where were you? The question, so simple, so devastating, hit like a bullet. I saw it land, saw Dante absorb the impact, saw something break behind his eyes. I didn't know you existed, he said. If I had... He stopped, looked at me. I would have burned the world down to find you. Bianca tilted her head. Why? Because you're mine. The words came out fierce, possessive. All of you, and nobody takes what's mine. The promise in his voice made my breath catch. This wasn't the man I'd fled from. This was something more dangerous. A father who'd just discovered his children and the fury of 5 stolen years. He turned back to me, and I saw it clearly. This wasn't over, not remotely. Someone forged that order, he said. Someone wanted you gone and made damn sure you'd run. Someone wanted me to believe you'd betrayed me. His voice dropped to something lethal. And I'm going to find out who. Dante. They took 5 years from us, Elena. 5 years I should have spent protecting you, protecting them. He glanced at the children, then back to me. I'm not letting them take anything else. The cafe felt too small suddenly, too exposed. You need protection, he continued. All of you, starting tonight. We've been fine. You've been lucky. His eyes bored into mine. That ends now. And despite everything, despite the fear, the anger, the years of running, I knew he was right. Whoever had torn us apart 5 years ago was still out there, and they'd just realized their mistake. Dante stayed. I hadn't invited him, hadn't agreed to anything beyond the conversation we'd just had. But when I tried to usher the children back upstairs, he'd simply said, "Let me meet them properly." And something in his voice, raw and almost pleading, made me step aside. Now we sat in the cafe's back corner booth, the 5 of them arranged like a battlefield. Dante on one side, my 4 children on the other, with me caught somewhere in the middle. Rocco, I said quietly, gesturing to my oldest by 3 minutes. This is... I know who he is. Rocco's jaw set in that stubborn line I knew too well. He leaned forward, dark eyes, Dante's eyes, fixed on his father with open hostility. You're the reason we've been hiding. Dante absorbed the accusation without flinching. Yes. Rocco, I started. No, Mama. He didn't look at me. If he's really our father, he should know. We've lived in 6 different cities, changed our names 4 times. I've watched you check every window, every door, every car that slows down outside. His voice cracked. We've been running from him. You've been running from people who used my name, Dante said evenly. There's a difference. Is there? The question hung in the air. I watched Dante's composure fracture, just for a moment, before he rebuilt it. No, he admitted. From where you're sitting, there isn't. Rocco blinked, clearly not expecting honesty. Cassian spoke next, his voice quieter but sharper. How do we know you're telling the truth? He'd positioned himself slightly behind Rocco, protective formation, I realized. They'd developed it without me noticing. Mama said you were dangerous, that we had to stay hidden. Your mother was right. Dante's attention shifted to his second son, and I saw him catalog every detail. The analytical tilt of Cassian's head, the way his fingers drummed against the table in a pattern I recognized. Dante did the same thing when he was thinking. I am dangerous, but not to you, never to you. How can you promise that? Cassian pressed. You didn't even know we existed until today. Which is exactly why I can promise it. Dante's voice roughened. Do you know what I would have done if I'd known your mother was pregnant? If I'd known someone was threatening her? Killed them? Sienna's voice cut through, small but fierce. She'd been silent until now, clutching her stuffed rabbit against her chest, watching Dante with open distrust. Dante's gaze found her. His only daughter, the one who looked most like me but had his fire. Yes. That's not better, she said flatly. Sienna, I warned. It's not, Mama. He's talking about killing people like it's normal. Her chin lifted in that stubborn way that meant she wasn't backing down. You told us violence was never the answer. Your mother was protecting you, Dante said, teaching you to be better than the world I come from. He leaned forward and I saw something break in his expression. But that world exists whether we want it to or not. And right now, it's circling this café. What does that mean? Sienna demanded. Before Dante could answer, Bianca climbed onto the table. Bianca, down, I started, but she was already scrambling across to Dante's side, completely fearless, completely oblivious to the tension saturating the room. You have the same eyes as me, she announced, peering into Dante's face with that unsettling directness only 4-year-olds possessed. See? Dark on the outside, lighter in the middle. Dante went absolutely still. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. Yes, we do. And the same nose. She booped his nose, then her own. And Cassian says we have the same chin, but I can't see it because chins are hard to see on yourself. Bianca, Cassian hissed. But she was already settling into Dante's lap like she'd done it 1,000 times, completely comfortable, completely trusting in a way that made my chest ache. I watched Dante's hands hover uncertainly before finally, carefully, settling on her back to steady her. His expression was pure devastation. Do you know how to fight bad guys? Bianca asked seriously. Yes. Good. Mama tries, but she's not very good at it. She made us take self-defense classes, but Rocco says they won't help if real bad guys come. Bianca, I snapped. Dante's eyes cut to me, something dark and protective flashing across his face. Real bad guys? It's nothing. Elena. The warning in his voice was clear. What does she mean? Before I could answer, one of his guards appeared in the doorway, the one who'd been standing watch outside. His expression was grim. Boss. Black sedan. Third time circling the block in 20 minutes. The air pressure in the cafe changed instantly. Dante stood, lifting Bianca with him and passing her to me in one smooth motion. How many inside? Can't tell. Tinted windows. But they're slowing down each pass. Positions? Marco's on the north corner. Luca's covering the back exit. Get 2 more here, now. Dante's hand moved to his jacket, to the gun I knew he carried. No one gets within 50 feet of this building. Dante, I held Bianca tighter. You're scaring them. Good. He turned back to me, and the man I'd loved was gone, replaced by something harder, colder, infinitely more dangerous. They should be scared. Someone knows where you are. Someone knows about the children. You don't know that. The execution order 5 years ago. The black sedan now. Elena, wake up. He moved closer, voice dropping. Someone wanted you gone then. And now that I've found you, they know their lie is about to unravel. Rocco stood up. What lie? The lie that separated your mother and me, Dante said without looking away from me. The lie that kept you hidden for 5 years. The lie that someone is very, very motivated to protect. Through the window, I saw it. A black sedan, moving slowly past the cafe, windows dark as pitch. My blood went cold. I want security on this building, Dante continued. Armed, round the clock. 2 men inside, 4 outside, rotating shifts. No, I stepped back. We're not turning my cafe into a fortress. Elena, we've managed fine without you for 5 years. Have you? He gestured toward the window. Is that car part of managing fine? Are the self-defense classes Bianca mentioned? The 6 cities, 4 name changes? His voice turned brutal. You've been running on borrowed time. That time just ran out. Mama? Sienna's voice was small. What's happening? I looked at my children, at their fear, their confusion, their trust that I would keep them safe. I'd spent 5 years doing exactly that, and I was exhausted. Someone already knows they exist, Dante said quietly. They will come. The only question is whether we're ready when they do. The sedan passed again, slower this time. Fine, I whispered. But this doesn't mean... It means I protect what's mine. He looked at each child in turn, something fierce and possessive burning in his eyes. All of you, no matter what it costs. Rocco crossed his arms. We're not yours. Yes, Dante said simply. You are. And the certainty in his voice, the absolute conviction, made me realize that everything had just changed. We weren't running anymore. We were standing our ground. The question was whether we'd survive it. The safe house was supposed to be secure. Dante had moved us there at 3 a.m., a converted warehouse on the industrial edge of town. Reinforced doors, bulletproof windows, enough security to guard a head of state. He'd personally swept every room, checked every entrance, positioned guards at every access point. 2 days, he'd said, just until I know what we're dealing with. We lasted 6 hours. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when Cassian noticed it. A wire that hadn't been there during the sweep, running along the baseboard behind the refrigerator. Mama, he'd said quietly, that analytical brain already processing what it meant. We need to leave. Right now. We were 3 blocks away when the explosion turned the morning sky orange. The blast wave rattled the car windows. In the rearview mirror, I watched flames consume the building we'd just evacuated, black smoke billowing into the dawn like a funeral pyre. Bianca started crying. Sienna went silent. Rocco's knuckles went white, gripping the seat. Cassian just stared at the smoke and said, "Someone knew we were there." Now we were back at the café, the only place that felt remotely like home, while Dante paced the kitchen like a caged predator, phone pressed to his ear, voice dangerously calm. I want every person who knew about that location, every guard, every driver, every cook who delivered food. A pause. I don't care. Find them. He ended the call and slammed his palm against the counter hard enough to make me flinch. Dante. 6 hours, Elena. We were there 6 hours. He turned on me, and the fury in his eyes was incandescent. Someone planted that bomb before we even arrived. Someone knew I'd take you there. How many people knew? That's the problem. He dragged a hand through his hair. Only my inner circle. People I've trusted for years. The implication settled over us like ice water. You think it's someone close to you, I said. I know it is. His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and something shifted in his expression, hardened into something terrible. What? Marco. He showed me the message. One of my best guards. He was supposed to report in an hour ago. Maybe he's gone. Dante's voice was flat. Marco doesn't miss check-ins, ever. You don't know that something happened? I know. He pocketed the phone. Someone's cleaning house, getting rid of anyone who might ask questions. Upstairs, I could hear the children moving around, their voices muffled but present. Rocco arguing with Sienna about something. Bianca's laugh cutting through the tension. Normal sounds in an increasingly abnormal situation. I've been going through the files, Dante continued. The execution order from 5 years ago, the signatures, the bank transfers, the authorization codes. He pulled out his phone, swiped through images. Everything was done through proper channels, proper Moretti channels. Meaning? Meaning whoever forged it had intimate knowledge of our systems, our protocols, our security measures. His jaw tightened. It had to be family. The word hung between us. You have other family? I asked carefully. A brother. Something bitter crossed his face. Adrian. I'd heard the name before, years ago. Dante's younger brother, charming and ambitious, always in his shadow. I'd met him once at a charity gala, handsome, charismatic, with a smile that never quite reached his eyes. You think Adrian did this? I think Adrian's been positioning himself for years, quietly building loyalty, making himself indispensable. Dante's voice turned cold. I think removing you was step one of a very long game. To what? Take over? To destabilize me enough that I'd make mistakes, lose the confidence of the captains, give him an opening to present himself as the better option. He met my eyes. You were my anchor, Elena. Everyone knew it. Remove you. Make me believe you betrayed me. Watch me spiral. And step in as the savior, I finished. Exactly. My phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. I picked it up, ice flooding my veins as I read the message. You should have stayed gone. Dante. My voice came out strangled. He was beside me in an instant, reading over my shoulder. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. When did this come in? Just now. He took the phone, fingers flying across the screen. It's a burner, untraceable. He looked up at the ceiling, toward where the children were. They know you're here. They know about them. Maybe it's just a threat. The safe house wasn't a threat. It was an execution. His hand gripped my shoulder. They're escalating, Elena. First they tried to scare you away. Now they're trying to eliminate the evidence. The evidence? Horror dawned. You mean the children? 4 living, breathing witnesses that I was lied to, that someone forged documents in my name, that someone staged an elaborate betrayal. His expression turned savage. Adrian can't let them exist. They're proof of his conspiracy. Then we run. We disappear again. And go where? Dante's voice turned harsh. They found you once. They'll find you again. The only difference is next time, I won't be here to stop them. So what do we do? We end this. He pulled out his phone again, started typing. I'm calling a meeting. Every captain, every lieutenant, everyone in the inner circle. That's insane. It's necessary. Someone in my organization is feeding Adrian information. Someone told him about the safe house. Someone made Marco disappear. His eyes burned into mine. I'm going to smoke them out. And if Adrian's there? Then I'll watch him very carefully. A dark smile crossed his face. My brother's good at playing innocent, but he's not good enough to hide his tells from me, not when he thinks he's winning. Footsteps on the stairs. We both turned as Rocco appeared, his expression serious beyond his years. There's a car outside, he said. Same black sedan from last night. It's just sitting there. Dante was moving before Rocco finished speaking, gun appearing in his hand like magic. Get your mother and your siblings into the storage room. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Dante, I started. Now, Elena. Rocco grabbed my hand, pulling me toward the storage room. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of the sedan. Windows tinted, engine running, a dark promise waiting at the curb. Mama, I'm scared, Bianca whispered as Cassian herded her and Sienna into the storage room. I know, baby. I locked the door behind us, my hands shaking. I know. Outside, I heard Dante's voice, low and lethal, giving orders to his men. Inside, my children pressed against me, their fear palpable. And I realized with crushing certainty, Dante was right. We'd never been safe. Not 5 years ago, not now, not ever. Someone had been hunting us all along. The only question was whether Dante could stop them before they finished what they'd started. The sedan's engine revved, tires squealed, and in the darkness of the storage room, surrounded by my terrified children, I finally understood what Dante had known from the moment he walked into my café. This was war, and we were already losing. The new safe house was a penthouse. 20 floors up, 3 exits, sightlines covering every approach. Dante's men controlled the building, the lobby, the elevators, the stairwells. No one got in without clearance. No one got out without him knowing. It should have felt safe. Instead, it felt like a gilded cage. "I hate this," I said, staring out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the city sprawling below. The hiding, the running, the constant fear. "I know." Dante's voice came from behind me, closer than I'd expected. "But it's temporary. You keep saying that." "Because it's true." He moved beside me, his reflection ghosting over mine in the glass. "Once I identify the leak, once I deal with Adrian, once you deal with your brother?" I turned to face him. "What does that mean, Dante? What are you planning to do?" His expression went carefully blank. "What needs to be done?" That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. We stood there in the falling darkness, the city lights beginning to flicker on below like stars, and I felt the weight of 5 years pressing down between us. All the words unsaid, all the hurt unprocessed, all the love we'd buried under layers of betrayal and lies. "I looked for you," Dante said quietly. "After you disappeared. I tore apart every safe house, every contact, every place we'd ever been together." His jaw tightened. "For 3 months, I searched, and then Adrian showed me the proof." "What proof?" "Bank records showing you'd emptied an account I didn't know existed. Emails between you and a contact in Prague about new identities. A plane ticket to Amsterdam in a name I didn't recognize." He laughed bitterly. "It was all fake, every piece of it. But I didn't know that then." "So you stopped looking?" "I stopped hoping." His eyes found mine. "I thought you'd played me, used me, stolen Moretti money and disappeared like I meant nothing." The pain in his voice was raw enough to cut. "I was 4 months pregnant," I whispered. "Terrified. Alone. I spent my last $1,000 on a bus ticket to nowhere because I was too scared to use an airport." My voice cracked. "I gave birth in a clinic that didn't ask questions. Held 4 babies in my arms and had no one to call. No one to help me. No one to tell me I'd survive this. Elena. I ran to protect them, Dante. Not to hurt you, to save them." Tears burned my eyes. "Because I believed you wanted me dead, and I couldn't let our children die with me." He closed the distance between us in 2 strides, hands framing my face, his touch achingly familiar. "I would have killed anyone who tried to hurt you. Anyone. I would have burned my entire empire to the ground before I let someone touch you." "I know that now. Do you?" His thumb brushed away a tear. "Because you're still looking at me like I'm the enemy." "You're not the enemy, but you're not safe either." "No," he agreed. "I'm not." "Mama?" We sprang apart. Bianca stood in the hallway, her stuffed rabbit dragging on the floor, hair sleep mussed and eyes heavy. "Bad dream, baby?" I asked. She nodded, padding toward us. But instead of reaching for me, she walked straight to Dante and lifted her arms. "Up." Dante froze, staring at her like she'd asked him to defuse a bomb. "She wants you to pick her up," I said softly. "I know what she wants." But his hands were careful, almost reverent, as he lifted her, settling her against his chest. "Can't sleep?" "Monsters," Bianca mumbled into his shoulder. "I'll handle the monsters," Dante said. "That's what fathers do." Something in my chest cracked open. I watched him carry her to the couch, settling with her curled in his lap, his large hand rubbing circles on her back. He looked terrified and determined in equal measure, a man who'd orchestrated coups and ordered executions, completely undone by 30 pounds of sleepy 4-year-old. Tell me about the monsters, he said quietly. Big, with teeth. Bigger than me? She considered this. Maybe. Then I'll have to be scarier. His voice dropped to a mock growl. Think I can do scary? Bianca giggled. You're not scary, you're warm. I watched his expression shatter and rebuild in the span of a heartbeat. Footsteps announced Cassian's arrival. He stopped in the doorway, assessing the scene with that analytical gaze that missed nothing. Can't sleep either? Dante asked. I have questions. Of course you do. Dante adjusted Bianca, making room. Sit. Cassian sat, maintaining careful distance. If Adrian's behind this, why hasn't he made a direct move? Why the games? Because direct moves leave evidence, Dante said. Adrian's smart. He knows if he comes at me openly, the other families will question his legitimacy. He needs to destabilize me quietly, make it look like I'm losing control. So he's patient. Very. Which makes him more dangerous. Dante's eyebrows rose. Yes, exactly. Cassian nodded slowly, processing. How do you fight someone like that? Carefully, and with people I trust watching my back. Like Mama? The question hung in the air. Dante's gaze found mine across the room. Yes, he said. Like your mother. Rocco appeared next, leaning against the doorframe with studied casualness that didn't fool anyone. Can't believe we're all awake. Join the party, Dante said dryly. I'm not here to party. Rocco's jaw set. I'm here because someone needs to ask the hard questions. Such as? Such as what happens after this is over? You deal with your brother, eliminate the threat, then what? We just go back to how things were? No. Dante's voice was firm. Nothing goes back to how it was. So what changes? Everything. He looked at each of them in turn. You're my children. That means you're under my protection, permanently. It means no one touches you without going through me first. It means we're trapped, Rocco interrupted. In your world, whether we want to be or not. Rocco, I started. He's right, Dante said. The moment I acknowledged you, you became targets, leverage, tools to use against me. His expression hardened. But you were already targets. You just didn't know it. Sienna finally emerged, standing apart from her siblings, studying Dante with those distrustful eyes. She didn't speak, just watched, cataloging, analyzing, judging. Dante noticed. You don't trust me. Should I? Sienna's voice was small but steel-edged. No, not yet. He shifted Bianca, who'd fallen asleep against his chest. Trust is earned. I haven't earned yours. Will you? I'm going to try. She nodded once, apparently satisfied with the honesty, and curled up in the armchair across from him. And just like that, we were a family. Broken, terrified, barely holding together, but a family nonetheless. I watched Dante with our children, his careful movements, his gentle voice, the way he answered Cassian's questions with genuine respect and absorbed Rocco's challenges without defensiveness, the way he simply accepted Sienna's silence and Bianca's easy affection. He was trying, and God help me, it was working. You're good with them, I said after the children had drifted off, scattered across the furniture in various states of sleep. I'm terrified, Dante admitted. Every second. But I'm also... He stopped, searching for words. I'm furious. At Adrian. At whoever forged that order. At the universe for taking this from me. I'm sorry. Don't. His eyes met mine. You did what you had to. I would have done the same. Would you? To protect them? He looked at our sleeping children. I'd do worse. And I believed him. The question was whether that made me feel safer or more afraid. The consigliere's name was Vincent Caruso. He'd been with the Moretti family for 15 years. Dante's father had trusted him. Dante had trusted him. He'd been at every major decision, every strategic meeting, every confidential discussion that shaped the empire, and he'd been selling secrets to Adrian for the last 6. I watched through the two-way mirror as Dante stood across from Vincent in the interrogation room, a converted basement in one of the Moretti properties, soundproofed and windowless. Vincent sat handcuffed to a metal table, his expensive suit rumpled, face bruised from the conversation that had preceded this one. "How long?" Dante's voice was eerily calm. "I don't know what you're—" Dante's fist slammed into the table. "How long?" Vincent flinched. 6 years, since your father died. 6 years. Dante's laugh was caustic. 6 years you sat in my meetings, advised my decisions, pretended to be loyal. I was loyal. To the family. To what the family should be. You mean to Adrian? Vincent's silence was answer enough. Dante began to pace, controlled fury radiating from every movement. The execution order 5 years ago. You helped forge it. Adrian needed Elena gone. She made you weak, distracted. The captains were starting to question. So you fabricated evidence. Made me believe she betrayed me. Dante's voice dropped to something lethal. Where is she now? Where did she run? I told Adrian I didn't know. That you'd searched but found nothing. Vincent's eyes lifted, defiant despite the fear. I didn't know about the children. Lucky for you, Dante stopped pacing, because if I thought you'd known about my children and still helped Adrian hunt them, I didn't know. Vincent's composure cracked. Adrian said Elena had stolen money, that she was a liability, that removing her would stabilize you, make you stronger. And the warehouse explosion? Marco's disappearance? Adrian's moving up the timeline. He knows you found Elena, knows about the children. Vincent swallowed hard. He can't let them exist. They're proof of his conspiracy. What's his endgame? He wants you destabilized, emotionally compromised. He's been positioning himself for years, building loyalty among the younger captains, making himself indispensable to operations. Vincent's voice turned bitter. He wanted you to spiral, make mistakes, give him an opening to present himself as the better Dawn. And using Elena was step 1. You loved her. Everyone knew it. Remove her, make you believe she betrayed you. Vincent shrugged. You became exactly what he needed. Angry, paranoid, isolated. Dante's hands curled into fists. How many others? How many people in my organization answer to him? I don't know. He compartmentalized everything. I only knew my piece. Then you're going to help me find the others. And if I refuse? Dante leaned in close, voice dropping to a whisper I could barely hear through the speaker. Then I'll make sure Adrian knows you gave him up, and we'll see how loyal he is to traitors who get caught. Vincent went pale. 20 minutes later, Dante emerged from the interrogation room, rage and exhaustion warring in his expression. He found me in the observation room, still staring at Vincent through the glass. 6 years, I said quietly. He's been planning this for 6 years. Longer, probably. Vincent only knew his role for 6. Dante scrubbed a hand over his face. Adrian's been patient, methodical. Everything I thought was my paranoia, my grief, over losing you, it was all engineered. What happens now? Now I root out every person loyal to him, restructure my entire organization, make sure— That's not what I mean. I turned to face him. I mean what happens with Adrian. How do you stop him? Carefully. I need proof before I can move against him publicly, something undeniable. An idea crystallized in my mind. Dangerous, terrifying, but possible. What if I gave you that proof? Dante's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? Adrian thinks I'm a weakness, a tool to destabilize you. I took a breath. So let me be exactly that. Let me reach out to him. Tell him I want money to disappear again. That I'm willing to take the children and vanish if he pays me. Absolutely not. Dante. No, Elena. Out of the question. He'll believe it, I pressed. I've already run once. Why wouldn't I run again? Especially now that you've found us, now that we're in danger. Because it's a trap. And Adrian's not stupid enough to fall for it. He's arrogant enough. I moved closer. Vincent said Adrian thinks he's already won, that you're emotionally compromised. He'll see me reaching out as confirmation that his plan worked, that I'm still the scared woman who ran 5 years ago. And when he realizes you're not, you'll be there, recording everything, getting the confession you need. Dante's jaw tightened. He could kill you. He could try. This isn't a game. I know it's not a game. The words exploded out of me. I've spent 5 years running from shadows, Dante. 5 years looking over my shoulder, changing names, uprooting my children every time I felt unsafe. I'm done being afraid. I'm done letting him control our lives. So instead you want to walk into a trap? I want to end this, once and for all. I grabbed his arms, forcing him to look at me. He took everything from us. 5 years we'll never get back. 5 years you didn't know your children. 5 years I thought you wanted me dead. My voice cracked. Let me help you make him pay for that. I can't. Dante stopped, something breaking in his expression. I can't lose you again, Elena. Not now. Not when I just found you. The admission hit like a physical blow. You won't lose me, I said softly. Because you'll be right there, watching, waiting, and the second things go wrong, you'll get me out. And if I can't, if something happens before I can reach you, then you'll make sure Adrian regrets every second of his miserable existence. I held his gaze. But it won't come to that, because I'm not the scared woman who ran anymore. I'm a mother who'll do whatever it takes to protect her children. Dante stared at me for a long moment, and I saw the war playing out behind his eyes. Fear, fury, desperate need to keep me safe, warring against the cold, strategic mind that knew I was right. I hate this, he finally said. I know. If anything happens to you, it won't. Elena. He took everything from us, I repeated. Let me help you end it. The silence stretched between us, thick with tension and unspoken fear. Finally, Dante exhaled. We do this my way. My location, my security, my timeline. Agreed. And the second, I think you're in danger. I'm pulling you out. I don't care if we have the confession or not. Okay. I mean it, Elena. Your safety comes first. Always. The possessive edge in his voice sent heat through my chest. I understand. He pulled me against him suddenly, fiercely, one hand cradling the back of my head. If he touches you, if he so much as threatens you, you'll kill him. I'll make him beg for death first. I believed him. And God help me, the darkness in his voice didn't scare me. It made me feel safe. When? I asked against his chest. Tomorrow night. I'll set it up. He pulled back, thumb brushing my cheek. We end this tomorrow, one way or another. Through the observation window, Vincent sat alone in the interrogation room, head bowed, the weight of his betrayal settling over him. Tomorrow, we'd use that betrayal as a weapon. Tomorrow, we'd give Adrian exactly what he wanted, a desperate woman willing to run. And when he fell for it, Dante would be waiting in the shadows to burn his empire to the ground. The café looked exactly as it had the day Dante walked back into my life. Same stainless steel counters, same warm lighting, same carefully arranged pastries in the display case, though these were props, untouched, because tonight the café wasn't open for business. Tonight, it was a stage. I stood behind the counter, watching Dante's men work. Cameras hidden in the light fixtures. Microphones woven into the fabric booth seats. a recording device disguised as a coffee grinder. They moved with practiced efficiency, transforming my sanctuary into a trap. "Test," one of them said quietly. In the storage room, Dante's voice came through crystal clear. "Confirmed. Audio's perfect." The man nodded and continued working. Dante emerged from the storage room, his eyes finding mine immediately. He'd been tense all day, barely controlled fury wrapped in icy calm. Now, with minutes until Adrian arrived, he looked ready to detonate. "You don't have to do this," he said for the 100th time. "Yes, I do. Elena, we've been through this." I adjusted my shirt, making sure the wire taped to my ribs wasn't visible. "I'm ready. If he suspects anything, he won't." I forced confidence into my voice. "I've been running scared for 5 years. That's what he'll see." Dante closed the distance between us, hands framing my face. "The second he threatens you, I'm coming out. I don't care if we have the confession or not." "I know. I mean it." "I know," I repeated, softer this time. "But we need this, Dante. We need him to confess everything. Otherwise he'll find a way out. I know." His jaw tightened. "Doesn't mean I have to like it." One of his men appeared in the doorway. "Boss, he's 2 minutes out." Dante's thumb brushed across my cheek one last time. Then he stepped back, the tenderness vanishing behind cold strategy. "Positions. No one moves until I give the signal, no matter what you hear." The men melted into shadows, 2 in the storage room with Dante, 3 covering the exits outside, 1 on the roof across the street with a rifle scope trained on the café entrance. I was alone. I forced myself to breathe. In, out, steady. The bell above the door chimed. Adrian Moretti walked into my café like he owned it. He was beautiful in the way poisonous things are. Sharp cheekbones, perfectly styled dark hair, a smile that promised charm, while his eyes calculated murder. He wore an expensive suit that made Dante's look understated, and he moved with the easy confidence of someone who believed he'd already won. "Elena." My name rolled off his tongue like honey. "It's been a long time." "Not long enough," I said, letting my voice shake. His smile widened. "Still angry? I thought 5 years might have softened that." "You tried to kill me." "I tried to remove a liability." He moved deeper into the café, examining it with idle curiosity. "There's a difference." "Is there?" "Of course." He turned back to me, head tilting. "You made my brother weak, distracted him, made him care about something other than the family." His expression hardened. "That kind of weakness gets people killed in our world." "So you forged an execution order with his signature?" "I did. No shame, no hesitation. It was surprisingly easy, actually. Dante trusted the wrong people, still does." My heart hammered against my ribs. Keep him talking. "Your message said you wanted to discuss terms," Adrian continued. "I assume you mean financial terms? Payment for your continued disappearance?" I want enough to disappear. Really disappear this time. I let desperation bleed into my voice. Somewhere Dante will never find us. New identities, new lives. "Us?" His eyes sharpened. "You mean the children?" "Yes. The quadruplets." He said it like he was tasting the word. "Dante's heirs. 4 living, breathing pieces of evidence that I lied to him for 5 years. He laughed. "You must think I'm an idiot, Elena. I think you're a survivor, like me. Survivors don't make deals with their enemies. I'm not your enemy. I'm a mother who wants her children safe." I gripped the counter. "Whatever game you're playing with Dante, I don't care. I just want out." "And you think I'll just let you walk away? With 4 children who could destroy everything I've built?" "I think you want them gone as much as I want to disappear. I'm offering you a solution where everyone wins." Adrian studied me for a long moment. Then he moved closer, each step deliberate. "You know what I think? I think you're exactly the same desperate woman who ran 5 years ago. Still scared. still trying to protect children who make you vulnerable. He was close enough now that I could smell his cologne, different from Dante's, sharper, more aggressive. Here's the problem, he continued. Those children? They're leverage against my brother. Proof that he's been chasing ghosts for 5 years while I position myself to take everything. His smile turned cruel. I can't let that leverage disappear. Then what do you want? I want you to understand something. He leaned against the counter, the same counter where Dante had lifted my chin 5 days ago, where everything had started unraveling. I orchestrated all of it. The execution order, the forged bank transfers, the proof that you'd betrayed him. Got it, I thought. Keep going. The warehouse explosion? I asked. Mine. Had to make sure Dante understood the stakes, that protecting you meant constant danger. He examined his nails. Marco's disappearance was unfortunate but necessary. He was asking too many questions. And the attempts on the children? Not attempts, warnings. His eyes met mine. Though I admit, I underestimated their survival instincts. Cassian noticing that wire saved their lives. Won't happen again. My blood turned to ice. What does that mean? It means loose ends need to be tied up, Elena. It means those children are a threat, as long as they exist. He reached into his jacket. It means you should have stayed gone. The gun appeared smooth as silk. I froze. Real terror flooded my system. The wire against my ribs suddenly feeling impossibly obvious. The cameras too visible. Dante too far away. Nothing personal, Adrian said, raising the weapon. But you understand. Family business. The storage room door exploded open. Dante moved like violence incarnate, crossing the kitchen in 3 strides, slamming into Adrian with enough force to send them both crashing into the counter exactly where Adrian had been standing seconds before. The gun clattered across the floor. Adrian's head cracked against the steel with a sickening sound. You put a gun on her, Dante snarled, hand wrapped around his brother's throat. In her café, where my children sleep upstairs. Men flooded in from every direction, through the front door, the back exit, materializing from shadows like avenging ghosts. Guns drawn, faces hard. Adrian struggled, but Dante had him pinned, tattooed hand crushing his windpipe. Every word, Dante said quietly, deadly. Every confession, every threat, all recorded. Understanding dawned in Adrian's eyes, then fear. The captains are watching this live, Dante continued. Every lieutenant, every soldier who thought you were the future. He leaned closer. You just confessed to forging my signature, to attempted murder, to ordering hits on my children. Dante, you're done. Dante hauled Adrian up and slammed him face first onto the counter, the same counter where I'd once believed I was safe, where Adrian had just threatened to kill me. The symmetry was brutal, perfect. 2 men stepped forward with restraints. Get him out of my sight, Dante ordered. And make sure every family sees that recording. I want them to know exactly what happens to traitors. They dragged Adrian away, his protests fading as they hauled him through the door. The cafe fell silent, except for my ragged breathing. Dante turned to me, and the cold strategist vanished, replaced by raw fear and fury. Are you hurt? No, my voice broke. I'm okay. He crossed to me in 2 strides, hands running over my arms, my face, checking for injuries that weren't there. He pointed a gun at you. He was going to... But he didn't. I caught his hands. You stopped him. If I'd been 1 second slower, you weren't. He pulled me against him, hand cradling the back of my head, and I felt him shaking. I heard him confess to everything, heard him threaten you, threaten the children, and I had to wait, had to make sure we got it all on camera. His voice turned ragged. Longest seconds of my life. It's over, I whispered. It's finally over. The coups collapsed. The family saw everything. Adrian's finished. Above us, I heard footsteps. The children, woken by the commotion. Dante heard them too. He pulled back, thumb brushing away tears I hadn't realized were falling. "It's over," he repeated. And for the first time in 5 years, I believed it. The estate was nothing like the penthouse. Sprawling grounds, high walls, guards at every gate, but also gardens, a fountain. Trees that had been growing for decades, their branches creating canopies of green against the morning sky. It felt less like a fortress and more like a home. Dante had brought us here at dawn, after hours of debriefing, after the recording had been distributed to every family, after Adrian had been locked away somewhere I didn't ask about and didn't want to know. Now the children were exploring the grounds with 2 guards trailing at a respectful distance, their excited voices carrying through the open windows. Safe. Finally. Truly safe. And I was falling apart. It hit me all at once. 5 years of fear, of running, of looking over my shoulder and sleeping with one eye open. 5 years of carrying the weight of keeping 4 children alive and hidden. 5 years of believing the man I loved had wanted me dead. The sob tore out of me before I could stop it. Dante was beside me instantly. "Elena." I was so scared. The words came out broken. Every day for 5 years, I was terrified. Terrified you'd find us. Terrified someone else would. Terrified I'd fail them. My legs gave out, and Dante caught me, lowering us both to the floor. "I thought you wanted me dead, Dante. I thought the man I loved had signed my execution order." "I know." His arms tightened around me. "God, Elena, I know. I named them alone, fed them alone, watched them take their first steps alone." Tears streamed down my face. Every milestone, every moment, I wanted you there. Even believing you'd tried to kill me, I still wanted you there. "I should have been there," his voice cracked. "I should have protected you. Should have seen what Adrian was doing. Should have—" "You didn't know." "I should have." He pulled back, forcing me to meet his eyes, red-rimmed, devastated. "When you disappeared, I lost my mind, Elena. For 3 months, I searched everywhere, burned through every contact, every favor, every resource I had. Until Adrian showed you the proof. Until my brother, my own blood, showed me fabricated evidence that the woman I loved had betrayed me." His hands trembled against my face, and I believed it. "I let him convince me you'd used me, stolen from me, disappeared with Moretti money." "What did you do?" I spiraled. The admission came out raw. Became paranoid, ruthless. Started seeing betrayal everywhere because if you could lie to me, anyone could. He laughed bitterly. "Which is exactly what Adrian wanted. He needed me unstable, needed me to make mistakes." "You didn't know," I repeated. "I should have trusted you, should have known you'd never—" His voice broke completely. "You were carrying my children, and I let Adrian convince me you were the enemy." We sat there on the floor of this beautiful, safe house, holding each other through 5 years of accumulated pain, his grief, my terror, the crushing weight of time we'd lost. "I don't know how to fix this," Dante whispered against my hair. "I don't know how to give you back what was stolen." "You can't." I pulled back to look at him. "But you can be here now. For them. For us. I want that more than anything. Even though it's complicated, even though they're angry and confused and don't know how to trust you yet, especially because of that." His thumb brushed away my tears. "I'll earn their trust, however long it takes." Footsteps on the stairs announced the children's return. All 4 of them tumbled into the room, flushed from running, eyes bright with the kind of joy I hadn't seen in too long. "Mama, there's a pool," Bianca announced. "Can we swim?" "And a library," Cassian added, "with actual first editions." And a gym with a punching bag, Rocco said, eyeing Dante. Someone should teach me how to use it properly. Sienna hung back, watching us on the floor, her sharp eyes cataloging the tear tracks, the way we held each other. Are you okay, Mama? Yeah, baby. I smiled through the tears. I'm okay. Are you sure? Because you're crying. Happy tears, I said. I promise. She didn't look convinced, but she nodded anyway. Dante stood, offering me his hand. How about we all swim? I think we could use something normal. You swim? Rocco asked skeptically. I do a lot of things you don't know about yet. Dante's mouth quirked. But you'll learn. Hours later, after swimming and lunch, and watching Dante teach Rocco proper punch technique, while Cassian analyzed the physics of it, and Bianca cheered, and Sienna observed from her careful distance. After all of that, we found ourselves in the living room as the sun set. The children had collapsed on the massive sectional sofa, exhausted from the day. One by one, they'd gravitated toward Dante like planets to a sun. Bianca claimed his lap first, curling up like a cat. Cassian settled against his left side, asking quiet questions about the estate's security system. Rocco took the right side, maintaining his protective distance, but close enough to listen. Sienna sat at the far end, but her eyes kept drifting to Dante, studying, assessing, slowly letting her walls crack. I watched from the doorway as my children fell asleep on their father. Bianca's soft snores, Cassian's even breathing, Rocco's body finally relaxing, even Sienna eventually curling up closer. And Dante, this dangerous man, this mafia boss who'd killed without hesitation and built an empire on violence, sat absolutely still, afraid to move and wake them, his expression tender enough to break my heart. His eyes found mine across the room. That look said, this is what I would have burned the world to protect. I crossed to them, settling beside Sienna, and Dante's free hand found mine. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For keeping them safe, for being strong enough to run, for protecting them when I couldn't. His fingers tightened around mine, for giving me a chance to be their father. You already are, I said softly. Look at them. They feel safe with you. I'll never let them down again. I know. The silence settled around us, comfortable now instead of heavy. Outside, the sun finished setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Carefully, Dante shifted Bianca, making room. His hand cupped my face, thumb tracing my cheekbone with devastating gentleness. I never stopped loving you, he said. Even when I thought you'd betrayed me, even when Adrian showed me all that fake evidence, part of me never believed it. I never stopped loving you either. The admission came easy now, natural. I hated myself for it, tried to bury it. But every time I looked at them, I saw you. Elena, I kissed him. It wasn't the desperate, passionate kiss of 5 years ago. This was something different, slower, deeper, weighted with loss and hope in equal measure. His hand slid into my hair, and I tasted salt from tears I didn't know were falling. When we finally pulled apart, our foreheads pressed together, breathing each other's air. We can't get back what we lost, I whispered. No. But we can build something new. Yes. His lips brushed mine again. We can. Around us, our children slept, 4 pieces of a future we'd thought was destroyed, now breathing softly in the safety we'd fought so hard to create. Stay, Dante said. Not an order, a plea. Not in the guest room, not as protection. Stay with me. Build this life with me. I'm still scared. I know. And they'll need time. I know that too. He pulled back enough to meet my eyes. But I'm asking anyway. Stay, please. I looked at our children, at the man I'd loved and lost and found again, at this beautiful, safe space he'd created for us. Okay, I whispered. We'll stay. The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise, and for the first time in 5 years, I felt something I'd almost forgotten: hope. 3 weeks after Adrian's arrest, the Moretti Empire held its breath, then exhaled in unified acceptance. The evidence had been irrefutable: video, audio, witness testimony from Vincent, and a dozen others who'd chosen survival over loyalty to a failed coup. Adrian was sentenced to life in a maximum security facility, his assets seized, his name stripped from the family records like he'd never existed. The traitors were purged, quietly, efficiently, the kind of house cleaning that left no room for doubt about who controlled the Moretti Empire. Dante, undisputed, unquestioned, stronger than before. I watched him navigate it all with cold precision: meetings with the other families, restructuring his organization, rebuilding the trust Adrian had systematically destroyed. He was ruthless when he needed to be, diplomatic when it served him, and absolutely merciless toward anyone who'd helped his brother. But every night, he came home to us. We need to talk about the future, Dante said one evening after the children were in bed. We sat in the estate's library, rain pattering against the windows, the fire crackling in the hearth. Normal, domestic, everything I'd once thought impossible. Okay, I said carefully. The café. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Do you want to keep it? Reopen it? I don't know. It was supposed to be our safe place, our cover. Now it could be something real, if you want it to be. I considered that. The kids love it there. It's the closest thing to home they've had in 5 years. Then we keep it. Upgrade the security, hire staff you trust, make it legitimate. His eyes found mine. But only if that's what you want, not because you feel obligated. What do you want? I want you safe. I want the children safe. He paused. I want us together. Everything else is negotiable. Together here, at the estate? Here, the café. Wherever you feel comfortable. He stood, moving to the window. I know this world isn't what you chose, that being with me means danger, complications, a life you tried to escape, Dante. But I'm asking you to choose it anyway. Choose us. Not because of the children, not because you're afraid, but because you want to. I crossed to him, sliding my hand into his. I'm still scared sometimes. I know. And the children need stability, normal, as much as we can give them. I know that too. He turned to face me fully. Which is why I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Send them to regular schools if you want. Keep the cafe running. Have family dinners and bedtime stories and all the normal things I never thought I'd have. You'd do that? Give up the late-night meetings, the constant power plays? I'd burn the entire empire, to ash if it meant keeping you. His hand cupped my face. All of you. The business doesn't matter if I lose my family again. The business is who you are. No. His voice turned fierce. Being their father is who I am. Being your... He stopped, searching for the word. Being yours. That's who I am now. My heart cracked open. Dante, I love you, Elena. Not because you're the mother of my children. Not because we have history. I love you because even after everything, all the lies, the fear, the years apart, you're still the only person who makes me want to be better. I love you too, I whispered. But I need time. We need time. To figure out how this works. How to blend our lives without losing ourselves. Then we take the time. He kissed my forehead. However much you need. The shift happened gradually. Rocco started asking Dante for help with homework, grudgingly at first, then with genuine interest when he realized Dante's strategic mind applied to game theory and chess. Cassian spent hours in Dante's office, learning the legitimate side of the business: investments, real estate, the parts that didn't involve violence. Sienna slowly warmed, her distrust melting into cautious affection, especially after Dante spent an entire afternoon teaching her self-defense moves that actually worked. But it was Bianca who broke through completely. We were at the estate, all 6 of us having dinner, a routine we'd established, sacred time when Dante's phone went off and work didn't exist, when Bianca knocked over her juice. "It's okay, baby," I said, reaching for napkins. But Dante was faster, cleaning it up without missing a beat. "Happens to everyone." Bianca watched him with those huge, trusting eyes. Then quiet enough I almost missed it. "Thanks, Daddy." Dante froze. The entire table went silent. "What did you call me?" His voice was rough. Bianca tilted her head, confused. "Daddy? That's what you are, right?" I watched his composure shatter, watched him blink rapidly, jaw working, trying to maintain control in front of the children. "Yeah," he managed. "Yeah, that's what I am." She beamed and went back to her dinner like she hadn't just destroyed him. Rocco and Cassian exchanged glances. Sienna hid a smile behind her napkin. And I fell in love with him all over again. 2 months after Adrian's sentencing, we reopened the café. New security, discreet but thorough. New staff, carefully vetted. Same warmth, same atmosphere, but without the fear that had always lurked beneath the surface. The children helped, even Rocco, who'd complained about working in customer service, but secretly loved arranging pastries in the display case. Dante stood behind the counter, exactly where he'd stood that first day, when my world had exploded. But this time, he was smiling, watching Bianca chat with customers, Cassian managing the register with mathematical precision, Sienna restocking supplies, Rocco reluctantly taking orders. "This is good," I said, sliding beside him. "Yeah," his arm wrapped around my waist. "It is." "You sure you're okay with this? The domestic life? The cafe owner's husband routine?" "Husband?" His eyebrow arched. Heat flooded my cheeks. "I didn't mean, that was just, I like the sound of it." He turned me to face him, right there behind the counter where it had all begun. "Elena Moretti. Has a nice ring to it. We're not there yet. But we could be, eventually." "Maybe," I smiled. "If you ask properly." "Oh, I'll ask properly, when the time is right." He kissed me, slow and sweet, and somewhere in the cafe, one of the children made a gagging sound. We broke apart laughing. "Mama, people are staring," Sienna hissed. "Let them stare," Dante said, but he stepped back, giving me space to work. The afternoon rush came and went. Customers filled the tables, some who remembered the cafe from before, some new, drawn by the warmth and the pastries and the laughter of children who were finally, truly safe. As the sun set, painting the cafe in golden light, I looked around at what we'd built. 4 children who were learning they didn't have to run anymore. A man who'd reclaimed his empire but valued his family more. A cafe that was no longer a cover, but a home. A life we'd fought for, bled for, nearly lost, and won. Dante caught my eye across the room, and the promise in his gaze was clear. "This is ours. All of it. And I'll burn the world down before I let anyone take it from us again." I believed him. More than that, I trusted him. And as Bianca's laughter echoed through the cafe, as Rocco argued with Cassian about inventory, as Sienna smiled at a customer, as Dante moved through our space like he belonged there, I realized we'd done the impossible. We'd taken the ashes of betrayal and fear and loss and built something beautiful from the ruins. A family, fractured, fierce, and unbreakable. And this was only the beginning. Thanks for sticking with this story till the end. If you enjoyed it, you're going to love the next one. It's packed with unexpected turns and heartfelt moments. Click the image on your screen to keep the journey going, and make sure to hit subscribe for more amazing stories. Drop a comment and rate this story from 1 to 10. I can't wait to see what you think.